Ready to begin lesson 2.6, dividing whole numbers. A little note here at the top. This is on page 82 in the book. You remember the chapter is on your Google Classroom, so you can look at it if you would like to, if that'll help you. First thing it starts here with, you have used long division to divide whole numbers. When the divisor divides evenly into the dividend, the quotient is a whole number. So remember, what's getting divided is called the dividend. The thing you're dividing by is called the divisor, and your answer is called the quotient. When the divisor does not divide evenly into the dividend, you obtain a remainder. When this occurs, you can write the quotient as a mixed number. Okay, so you wouldn't just have a whole number, you would have a mixed number. So let's look at an example of that. We have 672 divided by 8. So we've got to see, does 8 go into 672 evenly? Let's see if we have a whole number quotient. So first we set it up. Remember, the first number is your dividend. The dividend is what goes here. I know back in 5th grade a lot of times they'll say under the house or roof, or 4th grade. I'm not sure what grade they say that. I don't say that. But that's what goes here, and you're dividing it by 8. So the first question you ask yourself is, how many times will 8 go into 6? And it will not go into 6. So some people like to put a 0 there, but or an X, or just mentally, 8 does not go into 6. So then you ask yourself next, will 8 go into 67? And it does, 8 times. 8 times 8 is 64. So you subtract 64 from 67, which is 3. And you remember this, you bring down the 2, and then you ask yourself, how many times does 8 go into 32? And it goes into 32 4 times. Subtract. We have a remainder of 0. So just remember, the dividend divided by the divisor gives you the quotient. And because multiplication and division are inverse operations, you can take the quotient, multiply it by the divisor, and it'll give you back the dividend, the big number or whatever you started with. Don't always assume but yes, it will go back to the original number. And remember, a fraction is just a division problem. Okay? Remember, I showed that to y'all one day in class. You can check your answer. There you go. That's how you check your answer. All right. Moving on to a problem that does have a remainder. I'm going to tell you it has a remainder. 150 won't go into 9, it won't go into 92, but it will go into 921. You see that it'll go 6 times. 150 times 6 is 900. You subtract that, you have 21, which is less than your 150, so you know you're on the right track. You bring down your 6. You ask yourself, how many times will 150 go into 216? 1 time. So you say 1 times 150, you subtract that, you have a remainder of 66. Now sometimes you can write your answer like that, but usually in 6th grade they want you to write it as a mixed number. Remember, I told y'all that this is your whole number part of your mixed number. The remainder will be your numerator, and the divisor will be your denominator. I think it'll show you that here. Yes. So we write this as your whole number part. This, your remainder, is your numerator. And this, your divisor, is your denominator. And then they simplified it. These are both divisible by 6. And you get 61 and 11/25 as your answer. If you wanted to check your answer, it's not on here, but you could multiply your 25 times 61, get something, and then add, let's see, let me figure that up. So if I multiply 25 times 61, I get 1,525. Okay. Oh, it's simplified. I'm sorry. Let's use this one. So we say 150 times 61. We get 9,150, and then we're going to add 66 to that, and we get 9,216. So you can do this plus that to get that. I hope that makes sense. Here's a word problem. It says you make 12 equal payments for a go-kart. You pay a total of $1,380. How much is each payment? Anytime it mentions payments and that they're in equal parts, usually a division problem. We've been paying on this maybe for a year. Maybe that's why it's 12 equal payments. So you want to find the number of groups of 12 in 1,380. So you find the quotient of 1,380 and 12 using long division. 12 go into 13 one time, subtract. 12 goes into 18 one time, subtract. 12 goes into 60 5 times with a remainder of 0. So your payments are $115 a payment. You can check your answer by multiplying your quotient times your divisor, and you should get the dividend that you started with. There you go. Remember, you can stop this at any time and write down what you need to. And another modeling real life. A 301-foot high swing at an amusement park can take 64 people on each ride. A total of 10,250 people ride the swing today. All the rides are full except for the last one. How many rides are given? How many people are on the last ride? Sounds like a remainder to me. There's something in there that we don't need. Just look at it for a second. There's some information they gave us that we don't need. And I hope you notice that they threw in this number right here, and we don't need it because it doesn't matter how tall the swing is. That has nothing to do with how many people are riding on each ride. Okay, so to find the number of rides given, first you need to find the number of groups of 64 people in 10,250. So we're finding the quotient of 10,250 and 64. It's division. I'm going to work through it pretty quickly. 64 goes into 102. One time, subtract, we get 38. Notice, since we had 38, that's less than 64. That means we're on the right track. We bring down the 5. How many times does 64 go into 385? 6 times. For 384, we subtract, we get 1, bring down the 0. This is where people mess up. They think they're finished here because they're like, well, 64 won't go into 10. That's correct. It won't. What is it won't? Or it can't. People will tell me it can't. It can't is a zero. If you say 64 can't go into 10, then put 0. It goes into it 0 times. And then say 0 times 64 is 0. Subtract that. 10 minus 0 is 10. I have a remainder of 10. So how many rides were given? Well, you would think it's 160, but it's actually 161. There was 160 full rides where it was full, packed out. And then on that last ride, there was only 10 people. That would be kind of freaky. If it could hold 64 people and there's only 10 people in there, that might freak me out. Doesn't matter. That's the way you can check your answer. You can multiply the number of people on each ride by the number of rides that were given. When you multiply that using the distributive property, 64 times 160 and 64 times 10 over 64, you get the two whole numbers, 10,240 plus 10, for a total of 10,250 people. Remember, you can stop the video to look at the details. All right, I hope that's helpful to you. I do want you to remember that if you see on your homework, you'll see a couple of problems that look like, let's see if I can find one in the book. Let me try to go back here and show you what I'm talking about. That one's pretty straightforward, but notice this one. This is the kind that kind of confuses people. But remember, guys, if you wrote this out, it would just be 6,096. That's the part that, quote, goes under the roof or under the house. And then 30 is on the outside, because really this is just saying, if this is 234 divided by 9, this one's saying 6,096 divided by, remember this means divided by, that line, 30. So it's really the same thing. Okay, so don't let those trick you. If you look on your homework, number 6 says 698, and it has the fraction bar 44. So you're going to do 698 divided by 44. All right. Do the even on the homework. That's only 9 problems, not too much. And we'll talk to you later.